mad. I was getting mad because I couldn't sleep because it was a mix of excitement, but it's also like, bro, like, I respect a lot of the points where you come from. So it's just like, dang, I hope, like, not necessarily on the same page, because where you stand and where I stand might not be on the same place, and that might bring something out, but also just like, I don't want to like mess nothing up. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to go with the flow, and maybe I'm going with the flow too much. Maybe I should have said something, or maybe I shouldn't have. You know, all that stuff.
No, I was so excited. Like, you're literally my first guest, so.
I'm excited.
So excited! Because I was like, one of my sorors was like, have you ever thought of like having guests on your podcast? Like, that just kind of like helps it. Like, it's a whole nother level of depth when you have people. You were really like the first person that came to my mind. I said, I gotta have JoVahn on here, and I hope he says yes.
I was going to, that's the other thing. If it's something that is intentional, and the other thing is like, I'm trying to set this alarm, but I don't want the noise. Let me know whenever you're ready to start recording.
You go ahead with that one. I'm just capturing everything on this one.
Oh, okay, then I'll just wait. But something big for me is like, you could tell the difference between someone who's doing it because like they're genuine, and also like they see the creativeness that could come, or like what it could birth, rather than like, oh, like I'm trying to work with him because I know like this and this, and it's not like the audience that I have is the same people that you got, like we both here. So it's like, I could tell it was just like, nah, like genuine. Yeah. And if I can do that, I'm gonna try to elevate it in whatever way. It's like, I got a camera yet, let's use the camera. I have mics, I have people, just that it fell through. So like, I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here, yes. 100%.
Thank you. Whenever you're ready, we'll hit record on this one and get started.
Got you.
I hope it don't catch my stomach growling. Lord have mercy.
You could probably edit it out.
I definitely could. I figured it out. It's such a humbling experience having to learn how to shoot and edit by yourself.
And then it's always like, man, is it good enough? Is it not? Is it?
But then when I sit there and look back at my old videos from like I first started recording, I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like, you know, all the
Damn, my bad.
nothing straight. Whenever you ready, just let me know.
I'm ready.
Okay. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Transparency Vault podcast, where we get real deep, real vulnerable about growing, loving, healing, navigating life with God at the center. I am so excited because today, as promised, we have our special guest. We have JoVahn here. And yeah, I am doing the two-way type of recording this time, so it'll be on YouTube as well as like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So I reached out to JoVahn at the end of 2023, asking if he would be a guest on the podcast, because I just like, I don't know, he's so genuine, he's so down to earth, and I feel like we have very, very, very similar goals in the sense of trying to build something great and build something sustainable that is going to last generations after us. And so we agreed on the topic of building an empire with God-given gifts and utilizing the passions that he gives us to execute different plans. And so I truly believe that when God gives us a gift, you know, he's going to ensure that we're equipped with everything that we need to execute the gift. And there's a reason why we do what we do. There's a reason why we dream what we dream, and we desire what we desire, especially if it's in connection and in alignment with God's will. And we're in a generation where everybody wants to build a legacy. They want to build an empire, and they want to have something that can be passed down to the generations after them. But as I was reflecting on this, it's like, do we ever stop to think about how it would be if, one, we invite God into our plans and allow him to take the reins and him to be in control, and two, what if we utilize the gifts that he gave us to build these empires that we want so badly? So that's what today's episode is going to be about. Again, we have JoVahn here. Please let everybody know who you are, what you do, projects.
Yes. Okay. So my name is JoVahn Allen. I am also known as It's JoVahn, and then I'm working on a rebrand called Wander. I got my notes right here because it's my first time doing something like this, so give me some time. So yeah, I do music. I do a lot of music. A lot of people know my music for being in the alternative hip hop, R&B, jazzish field. I've gotten the chance to work with a lot of different artists, some nationally, and then like a few. One of them is actually Grammy nominated, so that's pretty cool. I've gotten to work with some people who are overseas. And that's it for the music portion. And then I'm also a business owner, so I own different records. It's a company aimed to just bring information and opportunity for artists that are in their beginning stages or artists that are a little bit further along, just to help them in their journey for success. And then lastly, I'm a college student, so I'm a marketing major at NKU junior. You know, one more year, we made it. You know, we here, and yeah, that's a little bit about me. Yeah.
Well, thank you again for being here. I'm literally so excited. Y'all don't understand how excited I was when I reached out to him and he was so quick to say yes. I was like, I have to have JoVahn on the transparency vault, and I'm gonna get on one way or another, and I'm glad I ain't really have to fight for it.
No, I'm happy to be here, yeah, for sure. We was just talking about this, yep.
So, yay. Okay, y'all already know how I do it. I like to break things down. I feel like it's easier to comprehend, easier to follow that way. So we do have, well, I have a couple of questions for JoVahn. And so the first would be, what is your God-given gift and how did you discover it?
I would say my main gift is probably, or the gift I'm known for the most that people see publicly, is my music. For sure. My music, and then the ability to just create a space with my music. So freshman year going into my sophomore year, I had my first concert and I was able to sell out, which was great. But like the thing that I appreciated the most was the environment around it. So I would feel like my main gift that people don't see is my ability to connect with people on a deeper than surface level, like just really getting to know people. And sometimes it bites me in the butt because like I like will really try to get to know people, and then sometimes it'll be so many people, and it's like on such a large scale that sometimes I'm not able to keep up. But it's like even through that, people are nice to me. People work with me. It's like, oh yeah, I was like, oh yeah, how have you been? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's just been really great being able to be on the flip side of things and just help people and just work from the background, even though sometimes, a lot of times I'm seen as somebody who's right in front of everyone. Yeah.
That's good. I was just talking to somebody and I was like, I feel like it's really important, obviously, to have somebody, you know, in the front interacting, but like the person that's in the background, as you, like, they're still very important in helping, you know, push everybody forward to achieve their dreams. But that's the type of person I like to be. Like, I like to be the person in the background, not really the person in the forefront. So I 100% agree with that. And so that ties into the next question of, when did you realize that it wasn't just like a gift, but it was something that you were truly passionate about and you really wanted to pursue?
So music has always been something that's important to me. I think like my first memories of working with instruments and whatnot was, I think I was really young. I can't remember my age, but my friend who actually hooked me up with the camera was his dad was into rapping and all that type of stuff, and he had instruments at his house, so I would go over to his house and play the drums. And then it goes into the cliche, I play drums at church. I sung in the church choir, so it's all that stuff. But then it wasn't until 7th grade I got introduced into this program called Amped. And basically then it was called Academy of Music Production and Development, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's not the same thing now, it's called something different. And my mom put me in there. I didn't want to be there. That's how it always works. I was signed up for bass, I think piano, and music production. I love music production because it was one of those things where like, you know that music has to be made somewhere, but you never really know how. It's just like, oh, like it's just made sometimes. And I was like, oh, I always wanted to be a singer when I was younger. I'm not a singer now, but I always wanted to be a singer when I was younger. And this was like one of those steps of like potentially seeing one of these dreams come true.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in the program, one of the things I was doing was music production, like I said. And one time I was in one of the small studios and I was working on lyrics for someone else. So I was doing like ghostwriting for people. And one of the mentors that was there heard me rapping and was like, "Hey, you rap? You rap? I didn't know you rap. That's dope, man. That's dope." Da, 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 da. So you know what? You just come perform on what's called. I'm shy. Like even now when I'm out in public, like I try to like mask it, be what's called the opposite of introverted, extroverted.
Yes.
I try to be, but personally, I love being in my room. Recently, I've been getting into reading books, so I've been in my room even more. Right. So it's just like I prefer to be the producer. I prefer to be the person in the background who sets the stage, and then the main act comes out. So it was like whenever that happened, that disrupted my whole MO. So I think within like that next month, I ended up performing. Again, I was in 7th grade, so it wasn't like anything crazy, but like for me, it was just a lot.
Right.
And it was challenging. It was throwing off a lot of things that I thought I knew about myself and things I thought I could and couldn't do.
Right.
And from there, it just kept pushing me, and then I found a love for rapping in a different way than I had before. And there were some things that happened throughout high school and middle school where it was like it didn't seem like it was going to be possible just because of the things that was going on.
Right.
But then whenever I got into college, it was a completely different atmosphere because you have the ability, for one, I'm from Louisville, so my parents aren't here. The people who I grew up with aren't here. My expectations of people who are back home are not here. Right. So it's like I'm not starting from scratch fully, but like whoever I want to be, I can become without expectations, which everybody doesn't get that.
Right.
And it's just been really good. It's been just great. And dang, I'm saying a lot.
No, keep
but
going.
Yeah. But from that point, I was able to take another turn in my music, like another pivot with my music, and just be even more honest. And through that was whenever I saw people were really able to connect with it. Because before it was like a little boundary, like, oh, I'm making music, and I'm making music within these guidelines, and then I come up here and I'm just making music, period. And from that point on, I just, like, people would come up with me, hey, this. Like, I love this song helped me through this song helped me through this. I think you weren't saying that specifically, but one of the songs in high school that I had made was Pretty Girls. And you were telling, and that was one of those songs where like I made it for my sister. And again, even though it was still within those like guidelines that I had at home, it was like that was one of those instances where I was creating music for one person and it was connecting with more than one person. So being able to see that like what I was doing for myself, what I was doing for the people who were closest to me or helping other people was a big driving factor, but also just the passion of being able to create and express myself is it's just great for anyone. Man, my words. I wish I could say a bigger word for that, but I can't think of one right now. I'm still in the shock right now. But from that point, going into like the mix of like having it as a God-given gift and using it to also like spread the gospel and whatnot I was always growing up in church. I listened to Christian rap up until like 7th grade, so I never really even was involved with secular music. So just that was a big portion of it too. So trying to find a way to mix the things I love now, the things I enjoy, and the things I appreciate with whether it's secular music, non-secular music, all those different things, in addition to just creating. So it's just, that's been a big thing. And then being able to merge those is just making my passion grow even more.
I love that. To be able to like create authentically and in a way that's like really raw. The way that you did that like really struck out to me because we was in rocks together, and when I found out that you made music, I went through your entire discography.
For real?
And I said, ooh, this is hard.
That was, I think I only had, what was it? I think I had, my most recent thing was Before I Go.
Yes, and I was like, is Burnout on that?
Yeah, it's on there.
Yeah, I like that song. Okay, and then Pretty Girls really, like you said, I knew that you had written it for your sister. I mean, if you listen to the song, But I was like, this is really was like keeping my mind right and like keeping me from comparing myself to other people, because one comparison is a thief of joy. And so like I promise you, I think that was my top 5 songs through like the Spotify rap throughout that year. And like every year you end up being in my top 5 artists.
Look, you got me feeling good right now, man.
Like, and I really do like be connected to what you be saying. Like, oh shoot, don't hate me, I definitely forgot the name of the song.
What the project look like? Oh,
you dropped that
I
last
think
year.
it's just.
You dropped that in 2023.
I think it might. I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the name of it. My memory's that bad. I don't remember the names to my songs.
Bro,
I think it might be. Go from here. Where we go from here? You and I. You and I. You and I.
Yeah. I tell you, that is my song, and I connect to that song on so many different levels. Yeah. And then my sister likes Foolishly. We be listening to that in the car.
Really?
That is my.
That's one of the ones with the guy. That's an international song. So the guy on that song is from the UK.
Really?
Yeah.
And that is my cut.
Really? Okay.
Blasting.
So you like the switch over too?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, I was really feeling it, and she was like, my sister's 9, by the way, and she thinks he's a celebrity.
I'm not.
And
I'm not.
She was like, can you play that one song by your friend? I said, which one? And she was like, this one, the weird, or no, it wasn't that one. She said the Foolishly one, and I said, yeah, girl. But yes, I do appreciate your authenticity, because like we really be like booming, and like I also appreciate the fact that like I don't listen to rap like that. I don't listen to hip hop like that. I'm more of a mellow R&B, but I listen to you because I like your message. I like the lack of profanity. I enjoy the fact that it's not like objectifying men and women. Like sometimes you just want to get that vibe without hearing all that extra rah-rah and that extra bull crap. Yeah. So it's like I definitely do appreciate that, and so I really do like be blessed in your music for real.
Speaking of like I was saying before, a lot of that came from just how I was raised, and then on top of that, like even whenever I listen to music, I do listen to rap and a series of other types of genres. But for me, it's always been like the stuff I listen to is going to somehow relate over to how I treat people. And I got people in my life who, specifically like my sister and my brothers, my mom and my dad, if somebody would have did that to them or said stuff like that, I'm not cool with that. So creating art that says those same things that I'm not for or I am against is just like backwards.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. But,
right. I 100% get it, and I honor that because I love that. So this point kind of ties into what you had gotten into. So I know, you mentioned you're a business owner, you have your own label, you write and you produce. How has that been like? When did you start writing? Did it all go back to like that program that you were in when you learned how to produce? And like, how did you begin,
Start a song. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I forgot that I was in 6th grade, so this was right before I had this notebook, and this is when like I thought in order to make it in music, you had to be talking about that type of stuff. Everything but, I'm saying what I believed in. And my mama found my notebook. My mama found my notebook. Yeah, it was rap. So I was like, let me go ahead and cut that one short. That dream done. But then I was surprised that like a year later, 2 years later, I got put in a program specifically for music production, and then will lead to rap eventually. Which I will say they had some pullback whenever I started rapping. I said, oh no, not again. But yeah, what was the question one more time? How's the journey been?
Yeah, just how's the journey been?
Interesting for sure. I've learned a lot of stuff. Say the biggest thing I've learned is, the two things I've learned a lot is, I learned a lot about myself, and I've learned a lot about other people. Myself being just what my priorities are. Having different priorities change how you look at art. So for a while I was thinking that this art was like my life, and everything I say and everything I do reflects a portion of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got to the point where, oh shoot, it said the camera. Dang, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you good. Is this one still recording?
Yeah.
As long as that was still recording.
Okay, you clear now.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna start from where I started. Dang, I think we should have just went with yours.
You good.
Okay. So it started with going back to.
What was we talking about? Hold on. The AMP program after you got your notebook taken away before.
I'll just start from there. Yeah. So I got my notebook taken away. My mom found it. I was talking about some crazy things in there. I remember my dad. My mom was talking to my dad, and my dad ended up talking to me, and cause she didn't know what she was gonna do when she went to talk to me, so she had my dad come talk to me, and we talked and all that type of stuff. And this was before I had gotten involved in AMP. I had gotten involved in AMP. There was some pullback whenever they saw me start rapping again, but it was pretty cool. We were able to figure out the majority of it. But the thing that I've learned in the sense of like the journey is I've learned a lot about myself, and I've learned a lot about the people who I work with and the environments that I work in. One of the things I learned about myself the most is just not everything you do is a complete representation of yourself. So some of the songs that I made are heavily only just this portion of me, or heavily only this portion of me, or heavily only a portion of me that I'm working to fix.
Right.
And going in depth on where it could lead or what it looks like for someone who's fully involved in that lifestyle. Sometimes I'll interact with people and be like, oh, who's that song about? Da 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 da. It's like, you missed the whole point.
No, right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, even now, a lot of the times, like, I don't know where the song's gonna go. It's literally like, I create something, that's the beat, and then I'll hum a few lyrics I hum a little bit, and then it turns into lyrics, and then from there it turns into something that's just like, oh, okay, I think I could turn this into something, and then I found the next song. It's never like I know from start to finish where it goes. I just kind of just go with the flow from start to finish, and sometimes I don't figure out what the song means until 2-3 years later. So I think how it goes, I didn't fully know what that song looked like until probably sophomore year and early last semester, because I had some situations where I was in that situation.
Right.
And I would go back to Louisville and it was just like, dang. Dang, I really I had a glimpse of it when I was in high school, but this is real. This is really real, and it feels completely different than what I thought it did, but the message is right. Correct bar for bar. So it's just allowing myself to just create and not know everything. I don't know everything, so just being willing to find out later sometimes.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side is being in the business. I feel like just being in any type of business, but definitely of creators, there's a lot of people who do some crazy stuff to achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve.
You darn right.
Yeah, and it's really scary because it makes you not want to create, or specifically not want to create with others. So even going into whenever I was doing my different records thing, I was wanting to help put on for artists that were in the beginning stages, but it was how do I know that whenever I put these artists on the platform that I'm creating, that I'm supporting, I'm saying that not I'm co-branding or whatever it is. Not that specifically on co-branding, but I'm look, I like what you do from what I know of what you do, and I'm supporting you. And then I see on the flip side, it's dang, this is what they got going on. And it's just that's another thing that I've had to learn, is how to manage working with people and figuring out who people really are before just saying yes. So there's been a few instances where I thought I knew, and then I found out. Yeah. And then you gotta find a way to work with that, and that's another one of those things that just sometimes you just don't know, and you gotta figure out. So that's been the biggest thing. It's just sometimes taking that leap of faith.
Yes.
definitely one of the things I've been doing more of is praying before I get into stuff.
Yep.
And reading my Bible before I get into stuff, especially now, because it's like a lot of times I think like, oh yeah, this gotta be God, this gotta be God, and I'm not even giving him time to respond, or I haven't even prayed about it yet. Which is like, yes, God is powerful, he's watching all the time, but why don't I just take time to just check with him 1 time, 2 times, 3 times?
Exactly.
So that's another big portion. It's just that I've been going through now. It's just praying over stuff. I was praying before I came up here, so I wouldn't just be up here just saying jibber jabber.
Yeah.
So I think we're doing all right now.
Yeah,
so,
I think we're doing good too. That kind of leads into the point, but I do want to comment on that, like the importance of, again, inviting God into the things that you want to do, because the Bible says that like a man makes his own plans, but you know it's God that orders the steps, and there's no issue with saying, oh God, like I want to do this. I mean, yeah, I want to do this, but can you help me? Like, can you direct my steps? Can you tell me what I'm supposed to be doing? And I realized, like, for me personally, once I started, like, quite literally, everybody be like, put God first, and you really put him last. You say put God first because it sounds cute, but in reality, like, you're putting him last. And I've been doing that, and I didn't realize it until I actually just got off of a fast. And so, you know, when you fast, you're really not supposed to tell nobody. So nobody knew that I was a fast except for, you know, my closest friends. Yes, exactly. So I wasn't eating what I typically do. It was no coffee, no eating out for real, no secular music, no secular shows.
Right.
And when I would get up in the morning, I got up between 6:30 and 6:45, and I would lay my mat out here. I would turn on my prayer music, and I would be on my face, just worshiping and praying. And once I did that, and then I would pray over my plans, everything just went boom. And I was like, oh,
so this is what it is.
Like, oh, okay. So I'm like, everything I was praying for, like content, like I gained like almost 100 followers, like 15 days. That has not happened to me before, but that's because I was praying over it first. Like, I wanted a new car, I prayed over it, and I got it. Like,
congratulations on both of those.
Thank you.
That's just,
I get a guest. I prayed over it. It happened. So I'm like, once you keep God at like the center of your plans and like you invite him in, it blossoms in a way that you really couldn't even imagine. And that's why it's so important not to compare your path with other people. And I was literally just reading something in Psalms either today or yesterday, because that's what I'm currently studying. And it was like, don't get envious and don't fret and don't start comparing yourself to the ways of other people, because at the end of the day, the righteous are going to prosper. They're going to fall at the end of the day because it's quick, or because they didn't invite God into their plans. And you know, we don't always see that. We always just like compare ourselves, but just keep God at the center and don't even worry about it. Go ahead.
Something on top of that. So this was another thing when I was talking about, or no, I haven't said this yet, but we're probably gonna get into it, so I might be ahead of us. Comparing other people, their situations to ours, and then on that point, another thing I've had to learn, or like I've had to not help people learn, but like I've had to mention to other people, is like, oh, he has this, and this, or she has this, and this. You don't know what they had to go through to get to that, or you don't know what they had to learn to get to that. And people think like, oh, if I had this, then I'll be fine. And I had, so for a while, like when I was so focused on like, there was a period of time I was more focused on the attention than the growth of myself as a person and the growth of my wealth as a person. And I was thinking like, oh, if I had this many people following me, or oh, if I had this, and that. And then I got up into college, and then I started having some of those like beginner feelings of like being known. Like people knew me in high school. I went to like a high school with like 2,000, 3,000 people, and that's a big high school. But then coming on to college with even more people, and then like people know me for what I do outside of college, and that was like, oh, it was like really cool freshman year. But then it gets like, dang, like this is all it is. Just everywhere I go is somebody who knows me. Again, it's not a super big college, but everybody who knows me is only from my music. And it's like, dang, I want something else other than that. And it's like, that's dang near the same exact thing. And whenever you get famous, it's like they know you for what you do, not for who you are. And I was like, dang, I'm glad I ain't have this in high school, because I wouldn't know what to do. Because it's just like, and I thought I wanted it so bad. I was 15, 16, 17, like, oh, I'm seeing all these people blow up at 18, 19, 20. Dang, I gotta do it before they do so I can be even more successful. And it's like, I didn't know myself in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you think you know yourself, and all these people are telling you who you are because of what they think you are,
Mm-hmm.
and you're relying on them to tell you what you're supposed to do next.
Let's talk about it. I was just having a conversation with my homegirl.
Let's go. Yeah.
I was just having a conversation. Well, first things first, yes, about what, like, not comparing yourself, because like you said, you don't know how long it takes people to get to where they are, what they've had to go through. Like, again, I'm a beginner content creator, and I've seen people just like blow up like that, but I was like, did they really blow up like that? Or is that 10 years of work and they're finally getting what they have worked for? Don't compare yourself. Or you don't know what other kind of stuff they was doing behind the scenes to speed up the pace to get where they at too. So there's like, it's a double-edged sword. And then again, to just kind of being like having all these labels kind of put on you, you know what I'm saying? Like one of my homegirls was like was in a conversation with some of her coworkers in there, and she was like, "Do you know Amari?" And somebody was like, "Amari the poodle," and my homegirl goes, "No, Amari. Like, I'm not Amari the SG Row. I'm not Amari the poodle. I'm quite literally Amari who just so happens to be an SG Row." So now there's this label that I didn't even want attached to me, because trust me, I take pride in 1922, but I'm not 1922. Period.
It's something you're a part of. It's not a part of you. I don't know if that.
It is a part of me, but it's not my identity.
Yeah, it's not who you are. Yes.
I don't wear SG Row as a master, as a persona. It is an aspect of my life. It is a part of me. I love it dearly, but like, I'm not Amari the poodle. I'm Amari. And then I was walking down, and somebody calls me the CEO now, and I'm like, that's a lot to try to live up to.
Especially not like yeah, thank you, but
I'm like, y'all don't understand. I really be crying back here because it's rough. It's rough trying to do this, especially when you're doing it physically by yourself. Like, you have God behind you, backing you, but in the earthly realm, you're doing it by yourself. And so, like, yeah, it's the CEO. Like, yeah, I make it look good, but when I tell you I'm stressed, I'm pulling my hair out, I'm spending money that I don't feel like spending. I'm on YouTube trying to figure stuff out. Like, I'm stressed. But yeah, I just had to add that in.
No, I agree. And going back, this is like another side. We might never finish.
No.
But is part of, I think for me, I'm very big on like, I know what I want. I know what I want it to look like. And it's not nobody else can do it, but like, I know what I want it to look like.
And can they do it like me? You can say.
Can they do it? Can they do it like me? But also like, okay. Can they do it like me? But also, is what I'm looking for? Can I like rely on them to keep doing that? And so like that can also be a portion of that. Because for a minute I was like, oh well, like the only reason why I'm doing different records is because I can't find nobody who's this passionate. Because like even when you work somewhere, the CEO probably wants all his employees to be super, super passionate. Say you CEO of Target, he wants everybody to be passionate about Target. People are there for the money. They're not there to watch Target be the biggest store. You know what I'm saying? So it's like sometimes figuring out like which people you can work with is a big thing, and I've been trying to. That's why. So like I had a meeting set up Thursday. We got sidetracked and ended up making music. We were supposed to have a whole meeting and whatnot, but we got sidetracked and shooting a video and all that type of stuff. But we're considering looking at him being like the person who does all of the social media aspects of it. And he does it for a living. Also. So like that might be a really good step for making this grow. But I've been doing this since 2020. I've been doing this since COVID got up to the US, you know what I'm saying? So 4 years, 4 years, 4 years of me working and trying to make this work, I finally I think this might be the time to pull somebody on and help me out. So it's like, I don't know what, I feel like it connects something what you're saying. But
it does. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it connects somewhere and they don't figure it out. So with that being said, like, do you feel like it's often difficult, or have you had difficulties with keeping God at the center of building your empire?
Yes. One, because I move fast. I try not to waste too much time. Like Even when I go in there and eat, I in and out, 15 minutes tops. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm very particular about my time, how I spend my time, who I spend my time with, and how much time I allow to spend with them. And through that, sometimes it's like, oh, I have this idea, and I know it has to be here right now. Like it has to start here right now. And I'm actually learning that lesson again, like the right way. So like there were some things where I thought I knew that it was the right time to start. And for example, right now I have 4 different artist accounts on Spotify. I have my It's JoVahn. I'm switching over to Wander. I got my production account. I'm not gonna say that name. And then I got the mixture of production account and It's JoVahn. So that's 4 accounts on top of doing different records, on top of doing college. For a period of time, I was working 2 jobs. I was doing all this stuff on top of each other. And it was by myself. Like, I was doing it. Yeah, I go to church. Yeah, I praise God. But God is for, like, my person. I was allowing God to just be my personal stuff. Like, not handle my issues, but, like, God, me and you on like, the way I treat people, the way I do things. It wasn't what I do that I would want him to reign over. So getting to the point of now is like I'm seeing that like I don't have to do all these things right here, right now, or I don't have to do all these things alone right here, right now. So right now I've actually been cutting back on a lot of that stuff. So those songs that are on Spotify, they're gonna be coming off for a period of time. Yeah. So just heads up. Just a heads up. So it's like because I didn't like do that, not only am I gonna suffer, but like other people who are benefiting from the things that I thought was the right way of doing it. And now the thing, but the thing is like looking at it, because that's over like 50, 60 songs that I put out over the last 4 years. And it's like, oh dang, like that's all gonna be taken away. But the stuff I've been working. Oh, man, it's really cool. It's really exciting. I've like let a few people listen to the album, and you can tell the difference between like people who are just saying like, "Oh, this is good," and it's just like they don't got words, and it's just like I'm not saying it's that good. You know, I don't want to spoil it. I'm just saying people have been enjoying it because it's like I can't hold it all to myself sometimes, and it's one of those things where like I've allowed myself to like pause. So like over the summer I took a break. Like at first I was planning on quitting. Ooh, I'm talking about, I think that might be what I wrote down. So over the summer, what was the question one more time?
Shoot, what was the question? What was the
How
question?
do you keep God in the center?
You definitely put this here too.
Yeah, so over the summer, how do I keep God in the center of it? I was trying to figure out, I was trying to figure out if I was even supposed to be doing music. I was worried that some of the things I was doing at the period of time, and again, I was like, I want to keep my music who I am. Not who I am, but like, I want my music to represent who I am and what I'm trying to be and where I'm moving towards. And things that I was involved in, I wasn't confident in just putting, out on the record. And I was like, dang, like, either I just gotta like clean all my stuff up. Either I gotta clean all my stuff up, which, yes, I did, and I've been working on it. But also, like, what am I gonna do in the time period between? Like, am I just gonna stop making music because it's like I'm not where I want to be at, or do I keep making music and let people just see that and let people grow? And I was like, I'm not sure. I'm gonna just stop until like I figure it out. And that was one of those things because it's like one of those things that's been so connected with me over the last. It's been 9 years since I started making music. That's dang near half my life. I'm about to be 21, so it's 9 years out of my 21 years, and I was like, dang, this is hard. So then I was like, and only one person to talk to about it. So since last semester, going into the summer, I was just planning on quitting. So I was going to finish up all the last of the features that I had promised. And then I had stopped making music. So over the summer, I had the last few features, and then I was working with this program. I had quit. Coming into the first semester of this year, I was still done. I had to go home to pick up a package. And one of the guys who I had made some beats for over the summer, because I wasn't like writing or anything, I was just producing. He's like, hey, can you bring this beat to the studio? I ended up going to the studio. Mind you, I was only supposed to be in Louisville for like a few hours. I was gonna come back.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up doing like a 17-hour session that night. Yeah.
What?
So I got there at 7, I don't know, p.m. We left sometime in the morning. Or no, 7 p.m. Something like we left in the morning, early or late in the morning, like 11 or something like that. And one of the conversations that was had, because he was like, hey, bro, you don't want to hop on the song? I was like, nah, bro, I'm chilling for now. So I wasn't telling people that I was like done, but it was just like one of those things where I was just going to leave that between me and God so that way I don't have to worry about persuasions and whatnot. I just want to be me and him. And one of the things he said was like, bro, like, you got to keep doing this. Like, one of the things, like, that, we probably not think about is like, everybody struggles. You're not perfect. None of us are perfect. And that's part of the reason why people rock with what you do so much. Like, your music helps me, bro, because you're not perfect. Because you are showing what it looks like to struggle. Right. You're showing what it looks like to win. You're showing what it looks like. You're showing it clear. You're not trying to cloud nothing up. You're just being straight up honest. I was like, yeah, but like, still, he's like, nah, bro, like, think about it. Like, there's people who you saw who were not perfect that struggled, probably worse than you. And you are who you are because you saw that, not because they hit it and then they came out perfect. I was like, I guess. And I was like, and I had been praying to get an answer. And I think like similar, like I think that was one of those times where it's like, that might be God, because I literally have been waiting. It was over like 5 or 6 months that I had paused. So it's just like, that's crazy. You saying keep making music? I mean, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you, but I gotta see like what that might be the answer, but that's not the full answer. So it's like, yes, keep making music, keep speaking to people, keep being who you are and trying to grow. But also, there's changes that need to be made. Yeah. So there was changes in my lifestyle, changes in the people who I hung out with, changing in the way I allow people to perceive me. So like, I cut my hair off. You know what I'm saying? It's like there was a lot of things. It's like that I was tired of dealing with. And in the Bible it talks about like, if there's something that causes you to sin, cut it off. If your hand, cut it off. Your eye, take it out. So it's like, damn, I you know what I'm saying? Look, but it's like it was never like that deep. But it's like also like, take this seriously. I actually put my phone now. So I put this verse on my phone last week, 2 weeks ago. It's like, do not offer yourself to any part of sin, but rather yourself to God. Oh dang, turned off. I can't even see what verse it is. I can't see what verse it is. Let me see. Give me 1 second.
Okay, it's different than the whole verse you got here.
Yeah, no, this is just off top. It's funny that it works. So Romans 6, verse 13. Do not offer any part. I think NIV. Do not offer any part of yourself as an instrument of sin, of wickedness, but rather offer yourself to God as those who have been brought to death, who have been brought from death to life, and offer every part of yourself as an instrument of righteousness. And it's just like, there's more in that verse, but that was the one that like stood out to me. And it was just like, take what you do wrong seriously. Just because God will forgive you doesn't mean like you should be playing around. Like, and just because you're not gonna go to hell for doing one sin here and one sin there, again, like before God came, you could have been struck down.
No word.
Right then and there. And it's just like, if like fear God and fear what God can do. Like you see him doing all these good things. Now, what if your situation wasn't take this seriously? And it was like one of the things like I really need to change. Again, I was moving as a Christian, but I just wasn't doing it fully. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, be a Christian fully. And I've seen a lot of things come from that. Specifically like the wander thing. I didn't come up with that until the end, the end of last semester. And I like it a lot.
I do too. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I like it a lot. And even like it's still speaking towards some of the things I was struggling last year with, some of the things I was struggling sophomore and freshman year, and then hopefully I can find a way to like show the new stuff, like where I've grown. Because right now it's a lot of I'm struggling, even though it's like that was a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's a lot of like, one of the songs is like, don't tell nobody about me. I'm good. I'm enjoying my peace. Like, I'm chilling. Don't try to look for me. Don't find me. I'm good. I'm good with me and God. We rocking. I come out whenever I need to come out. But hey, I'll see y'all later. So it's like, it's a gradual change and trying to find ways to show that through the music.
Yeah.
Because it's going from a lot of like a lot of my music beforehand was only like negative. Not negative, but it was only like, I'm struggling. And now I'm not struggling. At least not by myself.
Yep.
And finding a way to show that has been one of the things I've been trying to do as I'm refocusing and having God as the center. I'm trying to find a way to connect that, you know?
No, it's good. I think that was actually, you speaking about that actually was like an answer to a prayer that I was praying. Because I had made some moves without fully acknowledging God. So like my book, I love my first book, but I don't connect with it anymore. And now that I think about it, I'm like, I don't think I should have shared that at the time that I shared it. And so I was like, should I take it down? Like, I've really been thinking, I was like, should I take it down?
That's crazy.
I said, should I take it down? Because it's a beautiful book. It's not hateful at all, but it's a really beautiful book. But like, that doesn't represent this Amari, and I don't want that connected to this. Like, you know that TikTok sound? It's like, she can't come to the phone right now. Why? She's dead. That version of me, she does not exist anymore. Right. I don't know who she is. She was pain. She was angry and bitter. And yes, she wrote that beautiful piece of literature, but like, I'm not her.
Not, and you don't want that tied to you.
Exactly. My mindset that I have towards what inspired that book is completely different. Like, I'm not angry. I'm like, all right, it is what it is, but like,
let's go.
Let's move on. Like, we got other things to worry about. So that was, I think that was a confirmation that I'm gonna take it down. And then the next book comes out at the end of March, early April. So I mean, shoot, y'all gonna get something else new anyway. Which like, now that has God at the center of it, because I prayed before I wrote every single time. Now, is it still like talking about the journey of healing? For sure. But you can see, I personally feel that you can see God's hand throughout it more than you can see in the other one. So yeah, thank you for sharing that, because that was like really like a confirmation to what I was praying about.
Funny thing, another portion of like that process for me was whenever I was listening to your podcast, and you were talking about the difference between when you were writing the first book and the second book. I don't remember what episode it was, but you were talking about how like before specifically it was just you were writing from a different place, a place of pain, rather than like you would just sit and type and like, oh dang, like this is good, and you like, and you would pray over it, and then it would come out, and I was like, okay, so that's another way of creating. I need to see how like to tap into how to lock in and let God be where it's coming from, and not just from me and my heart and my bitterness and all that type of stuff. So I helped you because you helped me. So you know what I'm saying? So it's like circle, full circle. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So as soon as we get done recording this, I'm gonna actually take it down, because I don't even want it no more.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh my gosh, I love it. I love connection. So my last little point is, for those who are beginning their journey of like starting a business, you know, they want to build their legacy, like what are some pieces of advice that you need?
Okay, gotcha. I had to rewrite it down because I was like, I wrote too much on that paper, on that page. So I just put like points.
Okay.
So the first one was know your values. Know, like, I was actually reading a book the other day. I finished the book. Man, I was never good at finishing books, but I finished the book the other day. I finished it in like 2-3 weeks. So like 300-page book, 2-3 weeks. I was like, ooh, okay. It was a good book. It's called Cash Flow Quadrant. I've heard a bunch of different reasons why you should and shouldn't read the book, but depending on what you can pull from the book, I feel like it's what's important. And one of the things that I learned the hard way, but it reiterated, is in order to be successful, you have to personally become that. Like, you can't just skip to the steps of being rich and famous, or not just being wealthy, and then not know how to maneuver as a wealthy person. So knowing who I am, what I stand for, why I want to be wealthy. So like for me, it's not even necessarily for the people who come behind me. It's more so like the people who I'm involved with now. Like I want to be able to support any and everybody at all times as much as I can. And also just to help them see what it is I see. They don't have to see it the same way, but it's just like, I done came from here all the way over here, and I still got a long way to go. Yeah. So if I can help people not skip steps, but see them before having to fall on them, and just get to where I am or get past where I am because of what I'm doing now, compared to I was doing it because I wanted to be famous. That's a completely different mindset, and it's completely changed how I interact with people, how I work with people, how I'm able to grow. Because before it was just like, oh, these numbers, and now like I'm able to see like, oh, that's 50 numbers, that's 50 people who all live their lives. They all work, they all do this, they all do that, and it's just like over time you're able to like really see what you're trying to do, and you appreciate it. You don't take advantage of like what it is you're doing. So that's the first one. I got 4 of them. Second, be willing to sacrifice. Be willing to sacrifice. Be willing to sacrifice. Oh my goodness, that's a big one. So like, I did it a lot in high school, and then I cut back coming into college. So high school, I didn't go out, didn't go to the games. I would just work. I would go to sleep at like, I woke up at 6. I would go to sleep like 2. I wake up, get dressed, get on the bus, go to class. Cause like I was struggling with my math, so I would go to class right before class, and then I would do my homework on the bus or like throughout my classes, so I wouldn't have to take it home. Do whatever sports I would have if I had sports that day. Go home, work. Go to sleep at 2, wake up at 6. It was a cycle. So it was like I was sacrificing sleep, I was sacrificing interacting with people and whatnot, and all these other types of things. My mom, I actually put it in a song. My mom was like, I can't remember specifically, but she was like, you gotta learn how to breathe. You gotta learn how to break. Which, that's another thing. I didn't put it on here. Take breaks, but sacrifice. You gotta be willing to sacrifice, and sometimes it's not the things that you think you have to sacrifice. Because now I'm realizing like, in order to be successful, you can't sacrifice sleep the way I was sacrificing sleep. You have to sacrifice things in your daily schedule to prioritize your sleep so you can be as productive as possible throughout the day. So that's the second one. Going back to what we were talking about before, the third one is don't skip steps or try to skip steps to get on a position where you think you should be. Where you are might be where you need to be to learn what you need to learn.
That's the one.
We can talk.
That's the one. Because I was sitting here thinking, again, the whole comparison thing. I was like, God, I really want to be X, Y, and Z. But then he was like, Amora, you couldn't even handle it. If I had 5,000, 10,000 followers on social media, he said, if y'all put you in a room with 5,000 to 10,000 people watching you, criticizing you, whispering about you, talking bad about you, you would break down. He said, you cannot handle this. You're not ready to steward this. So this is why you're right here, because I'm teaching you things that you need to learn right here.
Which will be stepping stones and resources and tools for whenever you get in those rooms, whenever you get in those positions to deal with that. Because then it's going to be like, oh yeah, like, okay. I was telling somebody, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. She was dealing with somebody who was really, really messy, and it was bringing other people into it, and it was a very public situation. And she's gonna be a lawyer or something like that. And this was like, I don't know a whole lot about it, but in the sense of the situation was like, look, you believe in God. She's Christian and everything. I was like, one of the things you can look at this as a blessing. You can also look at it as like just a terrible situation. One of the things that you can pull for this is learning how to not let what you do or things that are not connected to you physically or personally go into your personal life. So like when you go into law and you're being these people's lawyers, you have to learn how to take on the job and be successful in it. But you have to go to home, go to sleep, deal with your family, all that type of stuff, and not let those two cross over. And this is one of those situations where old dude was just tripping and just spreading stuff, and it's just like, you gotta find a way to You got to find a way to work that out because whenever you get to, and you're doing this on a daily basis, how are you going to navigate that? So this is something that you're going to have to learn anyways. Just try to learn from it now. And I think that was it for that part.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. It was a little messy, but yeah. Yeah. And then, but yeah, going back, just don't skip steps. There were some things where I thought intentionally. There's sometimes where like you might think that this next step is what's best for you, and then you fall on your face and realize, oh, I didn't see these things that I need to learn. But like intentionally, don't skip steps. Don't try to just jump over to here when you needed to learn how to do these things. Fourth, this can go two ways. I put it on there. It was like depending on the person, one is more important than the other. So there's one, ask questions and learn. But then for those people who feel like they need to know everything before they start, sometimes you should stop asking questions and you should just start and fall. Start and fail. Start and be successful. Start and fail. Start and be successful. That whole cycle. But then when you realize like you don't know anything on the topic, yes, you can start, but also go back to that learning process. So for the people who have that something paralysis, where you gotta know everything. I can't think of the word, but basically there's people who feel like they need to know everything before they start. And analysis paralysis, something like that. And they're just looking over the whole thing until it's finished, where they feel like where they need to be, they don't start. For me, I'm the opposite. I'm gonna start no matter what resources I got, no matter what people are saying, no matter like whether it's good advice or bad advice. If it's something I feel like I can do and I can accomplish, I'm gonna do it.
Yep.
And y'all gonna see me do it.
Yep.
And I ain't gonna look for y'all. None of that. I'm gonna figure it out, you know? Right. So, and then it's like, dang, I've been falling on my face and I could have just asked a few questions. But then going back to like the little situation was like whenever I was doing my concert, I was asking questions and I was trying to figure things out. But sometimes you just can't get the answers that you need. And it's not like you know the answer. It's just, you know that like when you get the right thing, something's gonna click, things are gonna connect. And I wasn't getting that. But believe it or not, even though I didn't get that information, I had enough. I had plenty of information. I did it and it was successful. So it's like, find the balance between learning and growing, which learning and growing should be like a simultaneous thing. But just learning and pulling information in, but then also being willing to start. And I'm gonna add a fifth one on there. Take baby steps. Take baby steps. Like, I took some large steps and I failed pretty far. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to jump all the way up here and then I fell all the way down here and now I gotta come all the way back. So like, take baby steps. And just because you're not working with the biggest this or you're not working with the biggest that doesn't mean it's not the same concept. So like one of the things that was talking about in the book is like working with $10 and working with $100 or working with $1,000 and working with $10,000. It's the same concept for the money. The tax stuff might be different, but it's the same concept in the initial phase of working with the money and dealing with customers and whatnot. So if you learn how to be productive with small amounts of things or smaller, intricate things, you can take it to another level. Whenever you get there, going back to learning those lessons, you know how to handle it. It's not new. There's going to be new aspects of it, but the concept is the same.
That's what I like to call stewarding what you have. I was literally going on a little mini rant about the importance of being able to handle and manage the small before you can elevate and get something bigger. So for example, if you want a 5-bedroom, 6-bathroom house, but you don't take care of your 2-bedroom, 3-bathroom apartment because you think it's raggedy and you think it's this,
it's not because you need more space. It's because you need to learn how to manage.
You need to learn how to manage it and be grateful. And then when that elevation comes, boom, you already know what to do with it. Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I was gonna. This is unnecessary, but I'm gonna say this. But like for me, it used to be like so baffling for like a little period of time where like people would get like super big houses, but it's like it's not like I'm trying to figure out how to say this. So. There's people who have big houses, but they don't need all that extra space. Cool, do what you gotta do, what you wanna do, that's cool. I'm for it all the way. But like, I think it's crazy also sometimes where it's like, sometimes you're just filling up space. And going back to what you were saying, if you don't know how to manage your space and use it productively or just how it should be, those extra rooms, and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna just use this. You're just gonna be storing stuff in there, just storing stuff and just throwing stuff everywhere. So we probably cut that. I was just talking.
No,
but yeah,
I think it's good though.
Yeah.
Because I be asking myself the same question. I was really looking at celebrity houses yesterday. I said,
What do you use this
it's you, your partner, and y'all 3 kids.
Yeah, and you got 7 bedrooms. But then again, you know.
But hey, what do I know?
But because this is another side topic. But like one of the things like I've also considered is like growing up, I always had like my parents always had people who like would stay over the house for a week, 2 weeks, 5 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. So it's like we've always had family, friends, something like that who are staying over the house because of something that might have occurred. And having that extra space to support people when things happen, I understand that. Yeah. But sometimes you can tell the difference between just having stuff to have it and having things to just be there as support items. So it's a two-way street for sure.
I get it.
Yeah.
We got a little off topic, but that's okay. And I'm keeping it because it's still good.
Thank you.
But those are all the questions I had for you. I really think we had a bomb conversation. It really flowed because you know I said I was gonna look at the document, but I wanted it to be like a real genuine conversation, which I thought it was. But do you have any last thoughts? Any questions you
I would have loved to ask you a few more questions just on the flip side, but like for people who are just wondering, like what has been your biggest struggle in keeping God at center? Because I know I answered it. And you touched on it a little bit, but what's been your? I know you're on the spot right now.
I am on the spot. My biggest, because I think I know everything, and I don't know everything, and it's because I know that I'm intelligent and I can figure it out. My biggest struggle is doing things without consulting God first because I know I can get the answers somewhere. Like, and I might even have the answers, but just because I have the answer doesn't mean it's the best answer. And it doesn't mean it's the answer that's going to propel me where God has, like, in the area that God wants me to go. So that's my biggest thing because I'll be like, okay, well, same thing, like you said, you figure it out. I figured out how to make the podcast and how to edit and how to film and how to write the book and do all that stuff. Like I figured that out by myself and didn't consult God for half of it. So that's like definitely one of the things that I be struggling with. Cause I'm like, I'll figure it out one way or another, whether I get help or not. But I think that's just like that hyper independence too. So just trying to learn how to not be so dependent on myself and more dependent on God. That's like the biggest struggle.
Gosh. This could be going even deeper, but so I'm heavily a very independent person. Like I don't like taking money from nobody, even whenever like, specifically like people who like are real close to me. So like if I'm giving rides and so don't got a situation to where they can get a ride, like bro, don't even worry about gas. I got it. I'm good. If I need something, I'll let you know. But I'm never gonna let nobody know that I need something, which is bad. But like for me, I think my interdependence, or whichever, being very independent comes from, for one, being like the oldest sibling. Being the oldest sibling, you finding everything out on your own. Yeah, so like, JoVahn, you think you would want to do such? Or JoVahn, I'm gonna put you in this, and then you do it, and it's terrible. Or you do it and it's great, whichever one, you the test subject. I got 2 other siblings, brother, sister. Again, I'm not mad at the situation because it's allowed me to be where I am. But like for you, is like that the main aspect, or like where do you think a lot of that comes from?
It definitely comes from, I do think it comes from being the oldest sibling, and my sister is 11 years younger than me, so I do have to be independent, and I have to be the one to take charge on a lot of things. Like if my mother has to go to work, I'm taking on the quote unquote provider role because I'm looking after somebody else. And like you said, being the oldest, you know, you're the firstborn, so you kind of are the guinea pig with everything. And then my mom didn't have me super young, but not everybody you have to learn how to be a parent. So we're growing up together. Like I'm growing up as a child and she's growing up as a parent.
You teaching her, she teaching you.
My point exactly. So then that comes with independence as well. And then my parents got divorced when I was young. So I didn't have, for for a period of time, you know, but he's not living in a house anymore. And so, yes, we have a relationship. Yes, I see him on weekends or whatever, but throughout the week, I'm doing stuff by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nobody there to open my door for me when he's not around. I'm taking out the trash. I'm figuring out how to change a tire and put my license plates on my car. Like, I'm doing this type of stuff when he's not present. Just because of, you know, the divorce or whatever. So it's like that hyper independence comes from being the oldest and then just dealing with the separation of my parents. And then I don't want to say I'm the man of the house, but like it's me and my mom for real. So it's like what she don't got, I got. What I don't got, she got. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely where it comes from, for sure.
Yeah.
That was a really good question.
Yeah, nah, cause that's like a lot of people, you see the difference between like, there's people who depend on people, and there's goods and bads to being dependent on people, and there's people who are really good at depending on people in the right ways. Like they're not abusing that dependence, and there's people who are really good at being independent and being a leader for themselves and for others. And it's just like that's, you know, it's good to have insight. You know what I'm saying? On like I know why I'm very independent. You know what I'm saying? Cause it's just like I felt like ain't nobody gonna get me where I need to be unless I do it. And now I'm figuring out you don't have to do everything on your own.
100%.
So I'm learning that side of being dependent on the people who I choose to let in my life rather than being dependent on the people who are just around.
Yes.
And even if those people are not providing, I can still do what I need to do at the same time, but also being willing to hand off. Like there are certain positions that I've been in that I would not have been in unless I depended on this person to connect this person and this person and this person. So it's like, I was just interested for
Yeah. Wow, that was a really good question. You got me with that.
My bad. On the spot.
But yeah, I think this was a really good conversation. I would love to have you back in the future again.
Let me know. I'll be here. I'm right down the street. Yeah, just let me know.
We will have to do it again. But that's all I have today for this episode of the Transparency Vault podcast. Give it up again for JoVahn.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. Y'all already know the deal. You can catch it on YouTube. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We'll do some promotional stuff at the Transparency Vault on Instagram. Interact with the poll when I post it. Follow JoVahn on social media at it's.jovha. Wait. JoVahn on social media. Listen to his music before he does his revamp.
Oh, it's already coming off. The Art of Water will be out there soon.
Okay, well yeah, tell me with that.
Water will be out soon, but again, like, if not, watch us. If you can't find mine, just watch her stuff again. Just watch it again. Yeah.
All right, but y'all have a wonderful week. Thank you for tuning in, and I will catch y'all next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for
that didn't even feel like an hour.